Hey everybody, it's Dark Guards, and we're back with another video here. So last video we went ahead and created basically a little AI follower companion tank. This one we're going to get him to actually not run into us and be a little bit more intelligent about how he follows. I don't know if we're going to get to that one, but we're definitely going to make him stop hitting us. So this one's going to not actually be that hard. So we already have a script that more or less does this already. What it does is it kind of turns off the pathfinding system when it gets within a certain distance of the target. It basically says, hey, you don't keep pathing towards this. We don't want to clear the objective though, because then we'd have to reset it again after a certain duration. But we do want to kind of be a little bit more intelligent about it. Actually, before we even do that, let me just check to see how the set target script works. Wow, this is literally just every single tick. I'm going to change this to fixed update so it's not running every tick. So that's what I just wanted to check real quick, is the set path. Basically, if we ever have a target, it's going to override anything we do. So we do want to make sure that our script isn't turning the Pathfinder off if we still have something valid to run towards. We do want to maybe get some weapons on here. Maybe. Yeah, we could do some weapons. Oh. By changing that, I actually wrote the rest of the scripts. Really need to look at what this is right here. This is like really cool, this plus equal. I'm going to say this basically just equates to add, and this equates to remove, and this is maybe just some kind of list. I definitely have to go look that up. It's really nice, whatever it is. So get that, and let's just toss like one weapon on it so it at least has a functional weapon. And we'll just do that by copying the weapon as soon as it's done compiling, because it won't let me click anything until it's done compiling. Although, remember exactly what commands I just put in, so it just zoomed in on me. So this is the weapon right here. We don't want the aim at mouse, and I actually just going to completely ignore the audio source. Yeah, we already have the texture on there, so we're going to copy component. We're going to just pick a random cannon, and we're going to paste as new. And then fix that. I'm going to fix that on the prefab. For some reason, I don't know how this happened, but the number of times to shoot got turned to 6 on this. I was probably messing with the shotgun in one of the videos, and it accidentally got edited. Because this gun should only fire one shot. I need to fix the audio, because ion cannon just doesn't sound good. Like, I was listening to the Sentry Guns while I was working on these guys down here. These are basically other player AIs we built. I didn't make a video doing this just because I was wanting to work on something, or did I make a video? No, I don't think I did. But I was making these, and like listening to these actually fire over and over and over again. The audio sucks. We'll get into another video of doing that. We'll probably sit there and just like for a couple hours just mess around with audio. So we don't need the source because we'll mess with the source later. What we'll probably do is we'll put a single source in the entire tank, and then all the audio plays through that one source. And then what we'll do is we'll actually probably need 2 sources, because what we want to do is have an output for the exact audio we want to do. So we want to have an audio mixer for all the gunfire in the game. We have an audio mixer for like all the ambient noises, so like the engine is running. Then we want some environmental ambient separate audio mixer, and then we want to get a background audio mixer as well, so that we could pick and choose what you want. Of course, there would also be a mixer for the music. It would all mix into one thing. I'll have to work on it. I don't know if you're actually even supposed to have multiple of these per entity. I guess you could probably have as many as you want, because it doesn't seem to bother anything. We got the weapon on there, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put... There should be like an AI stop script. Yeah, movement state handler. You know what we'll do is we're just going to mess with the movement state handler, because the movement state handler is already designed to do exactly what we're doing, and it needs to be toyed with anyway. So I need to go through here and then make it so that we're no longer looking for this stuff. We want to make sure we grab our shoot at target. This is actually what handles the weapon and tells the weapon, hey, you need to shoot at the target if you can see the target type of thing. What we'll do is we'll grab our host. So I don't want to be assigning the host anymore to these scripts. Honestly, I might start making the host object private, because it's only used internally. That'll get our host object, so we don't need to assign it anymore. We should do the same thing for our pathing script. Yeah, we can do the same thing with our pathing script, because it should be on the same object. I can't think of an example of where I have that the pathing script is not on the same object with the movement state handler. So how the movement state handler works is if we have a target and we can hit the target, we turn off the movement system. It's really, really simple. That script is amazingly simple. So now we want to get our objective, which I'm gonna no, right there. That's what I was looking for. I was trying to figure out like what was the name of the variable. I don't have a good memory when it comes to names. I never probably will. So if we have an objective, we want to basically check the objective, and we want to do. Let's add a couple of variables here. So we'll have public boolean stop if can fire equals true. Public boolean stop if near. Well, now we're going to do this as a float because, like, if you don't want it to stop near the objective, then you just set it to 0. Objective stop distance, and we'll set this to 1 by default. Put an F at here. I don't think you need to actually define it so float as a literal, but whatever. So distance to stop from objective. Should AI stop if can see and attack target? And then this should, because this basically actually asks the AI script if it can shoot, so we don't have to worry about that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put like a null check on this. So we're going to go and does equal null. Is there a null check on the actual shoot script itself? We're going to actually do that real quick because I've been having problems because I keep editing these scripts and keep changing them, that occasionally my data goes null and I don't check the object right away, and because we don't have the time to do a whole bunch of QA on this game before release, I just need to make the scripts as robust as possible, so that way if it breaks, then I don't have to actually worry about it. So we're going to need to get our distance to objective. So our objective is stored as a transform, so we should be able to get the position. We should be able to get our position and figure out the distance we know. I'm just going to Google this one rather than try to think of it, because brain cells will fry if I try. That's actually a joke. I probably could figure it out. Yeah, we're just going to do distance. Because I think it's like vector3.distance is, yeah, there's a, yeah, that's what it is. We really just want vector2, but vector3 will get us the same object. Because unfortunately, even though we are programming a 2 game, Unity does store everything. Actually, I'll just copy the whole line. Unity does store everything as a vector3. So we want our current objective. So host.currentObjective.position. And then we want our transform, which we should just be able to grab right off that. So that should get our distance, and we want to go if distance is less than equal to stop distance, and we also need to make sure our objective stop distance is greater than 0. Yeah, greater than 0, because we don't actually want it to do anything else. So if less equals stop distance, then we just turn off the pathfinder. And then if it's good, we basically turn the pathfinder back on. What we probably could do is set some kind of state variable that we reset every single tick. Like we can go, hey, turn the movement system back on. You know, actually, that's actually not a bad idea. Because we know we're going to be able to turn it back on, so we're just going to do this reset. And this will be run checks. And this way we can collapse this code down, and we can get rid of a few extra lines. And make the code a little easier to read, even though we theoretically have nested stuff here, so But we do want these to operate independently from each other, because if we have a target, we want the target to take priority over the objective. So we want to make sure that if we do have a target and our shooting arrays are not null, we go into the target section of this and try to run the script system. And if we don't have like a current target, then we go to the objective. So pretty simple. This should, in theory, work. We do need to eventually make a script called max chase distance. That actually tells the AI, don't go farther than this distance from the objective. Like if your AI target is beyond this distance, stop and don't chase. This is going to be important for multiple reasons. A, it'll prevent the player from baiting AIs off of key objective points and just running back around and then killing an objective, because we may have destroyed objectives later in this game. So prevent that from happening, because you want the AIs to be somewhat intelligent. You don't want them to be fully intelligent, because after all, this is an arcade-ish style game, but just enough that you can't fool them with really stupid tricks. Although, to be honest, that would be a valid trick, especially if we do multiplayer in this game. You could have a light vehicle run through and bait all the targets off, while a heavy vehicle runs in and blows everything up. Let's test the script though. So, it's our movement handler. Let's get a shoot script on here. Oh, it's compiling. I wish it would like pop a box up here and go, hey, I'm compiling. That way I know it's compiling rather than being like, oh, it froze. Because if I didn't know any better, I would think it froze. Our firing distance, we're going to say 50 because that's what we've been using. I'm going to get rid of the thing on there. We currently don't have any weapons on here, and we do have a firing delay. So which, I think it's this snub cannon that's currently enabled. Yep, that one's enabled. I want to make a script that gets me the entity mob right here, but I have to make a script that basically goes, hey, do you have a parent and isn't a mob? I'll make that script later. That'll probably take me too long for this video. We do want our ray tray task. We want to say, hey, you're going to shoot at enemies, and we also want to make sure you don't shoot through walls. That's how our ray tray system works. That should do the trick. We are a player layer, so it should ignore us. That looks good. Hit apply. And then we're going to go to our movement handler. Drag our turret over here, because our turret's only going to have one script on it for the shooting, so we don't need more. Now, we actually might make more, because what we may do is may have the blasters have a different range for shooting. Say like, hey, only shoot your blasters if you're within 30 units technically, since this is not meters. I think each one of these blocks is actually going to be like 4 meters, maybe. I haven't really thought about that one, because these tank. I don't really want to even define the size of these, so just let the player figure out what they are, because these could be RC toys for all you know. And we actually probably are in the lore going to say these are remote controlled tanks to explain why you would be carrying around multiples of them and why your player doesn't die and does respawn. We say, hey, well, you're not actually controlling these directly. You're indirectly controlling them from, say, a command vehicle over here, which we might make a version of this that does have like an antenna on it or a radar dish that spins around and be like, hey, this is your command vehicle, because you are in the campaign going to have a repair vehicle follow you, a supply vehicle, and probably a command vehicle. And then maybe a couple small tanks guarding the convoy, and your ideal is that you're going to be moving ahead of the convoy throughout most of the game as you travel from mission location to mission location, and these guys are your supporting role. And then technically what we might do is have the player, and then he could pick like 3 supporting vehicles that follow him around their levels. He has his tank, that'll act as the pseudo multiplayer, because the original idea when we're going to make this tank game is that you were going to have 4 players, and it was going to be multiplayer driven, and all the missions were going to be multiplayer, so you would have to get people to help you out to get through these levels, although we would probably scale all the levels to not need that, but that was going to be the ideal, although I looked at all the multiplayer code and I was like, I could probably get most of this working, but it would probably be in such an unstable state that it wouldn't be worth compromising on our ability to make a decent campaign to also get multiplayer squeezed out at the same time. So we got a movement state handler. It's going to get the path script automatically, it's going to get the host automatically, it's got it everything, and we're going to set our stopping distance to 3. This should, in theory, work. And we need to increase our movement speed. From last video, that was horrible. We need to speed it up. And I'm going to duplicate this guy, because I want to see what happens if we have more than one follow us. Get our movement going here, so I can move it. Did I not move? I moved the wrong object. I moved our item data handler. Although our item data handler needs to stay up here. I don't know why it keeps moving to the bottom. I think it's trying to... I want to say it's alphabetizing, but it doesn't make any sense, because game data keeps ending up underneath world. However, we have our 2 tanks. Let's move this one over here. So these are going to be our posse that's going to follow us around. And they have now 1 weapon script. So they could shoot at targets if I actually had them set up to shoot. So now they have no local avoidance on them. This is where I do need to pay for the pro version of this plugin. Are you colliding with me? Hold on. Oh, I can't tell if they're actually colliding or not. Why are you marked as static? You are not static. Cancel. Change that. These were static because I just grabbed the deco object. All the deco objects are static, so that way the game doesn't update them. So we're going to change this stop distance to like 6. And remove the static thing. I don't think the static was messing with it, but... Okay, so it is working. And they are stopping. We are seeing a bit of a problem though. See how they are trying to repath me every few seconds? So the Pathfinder is turning back on. And I think it has to do with the distance is just ever so slightly increasing between me and that thing. We also have no local avoidance here, and I actually honestly don't know how to code local avoidance off the top of my head. I've actually never done it. So we probably won't be able to do that anytime soon, so I'm probably just going to pay for the pro version, which is going to suck because it's going to kill my profit. But it will be worth it to prevent stuff from colliding with each other just to get that running. Theoretically, what we could do for local avoidance, we could basically tell it, don't move if you're within a certain distance of an ally, and then who has the least obstruction start moving. That'd be like a token system for moving. That just sounds weird. You could do a collider. So you could put a collider around it and be like, hey, if your collider intersects on another AI, just don't move forward. That would require us to recode the Pathfinder though. What we want to do is we need a start and stop distance. Objective start distance, objective start distance. So we say if the objective is outside a certain distance, then you start moving again. But this kills our ability to do this. Because we want it to be dead stop at this distance. We don't want it to start up again right away. But at the same time, what we could do is be like... we could just increase the stop distance, which is... That's a weird thing about how the script works, is because if you make like a... what's called a dead zone, basically, it's no different than saying just stay dead until at a certain point. We really just... we need to recode the Pathfinder, because how you would theoretically do this, instead of actually stopping the target, you would tell the target to decelerate, or I mean, not target, the AI to decelerate before it gets to the stop distance. That way it doesn't get this like fidgety movement. But let's go ahead and let's add some the set target scripts to this, or find target. We'll set a targeting range to like 60, targeting delay to 0.5. Now let's edit our host here so it auto finds its oh, it's already got it set up. I must have edited this day today. That's nice. Means I don't have to map that. So it'll find a target and then it should shoot its one blaster. And we'll go ahead and have these follow us and test it out. They're not shooting. They're also not following. I'm seeing a yellow line, which means they do recognize these as valid targets. Did I just like mess the weapon script up? Weapon is there. Oh, you know, the weapon script won't fire because it doesn't have a firing node and I have no warning in console to tell me that. Because it'll just say, I hate all this debugging. There's supposed to be a way you can turn this debug off, but I have yet to actually find a proper way to turn the debug off. But yeah, we're missing a really simple game object. Let me double click this so we go up here. And we just want to create an empty. And we'll call it bullet exit just because I like keeping consistent. And the bullet exit just literally goes up here. And you go into here and you drag this onto firing positions. It actually registers that there was one on here, because it has that one entry on there. Theoretically, we could actually just set up one weapon script for all four of these guns if we wanted to, but I'm going to try to keep it consistent, because we're going to come back through here and probably script drive these later. So this should fire now. We'll call that the end of the episode as soon as we did see it fire. I mean, they do follow half decently, so if I could just keep them spread out, it probably would work. Hey, there you go, they're shooting. They just suck at aiming, though. That's more to do with how the AIs are just kind of crap on that regard. I don't get why these guys aren't shooting, though. What I could do is have the round track a little bit towards the target. That would probably fix it a little bit for the aim, but that just seems cheap. I need to just tell it to predict movement. I need to do that on actually all the AIs to make it more interesting. But that's good enough for now, so I'll go see you guys in the next episode.